NCIS's 20-season run has been a wild ride ever since its premiere. The hit police TV drama has welcomed and bid farewell to many characters over the years, and while the OG squad barely remains now, there's always a cameo here and there as a throwback. Today we'll see how one particular character's return to the show has been one hell of a struggle for her and what goes on behind the scenes for them. First off, Cody DePablo's rough return to NCIS. If you've been a fan of the show from the start, you might call yourself a veteran by now, and you probably have a favorite team from the show too. Even though Cody only became a part of the show after the first 2 seasons aired, the special agent had garnered so much love from everyone that even today, people call her one of the best parts of the show. And that's why when her character was written off the show, fans were pretty upset with how her story turned out. DePablo also was kinda on the fence about the whole situation, but there's always some kind of magic brewing in the writer's room on the sets of NCIS. And only a few seasons later, Ziva came back on the show, but things weren't exactly smooth sailing for her either. Now, if a show is full of action, then most actors have the task of performing their stunts by themselves. If they can't do the entire set, then they probably do enough to at least mimic the entire routine. And for that, you need to at least have some stamina so that you don't look out of breath when you have to fight bad guys and then say something charming the next minute. For Cody though, this was a big challenge when she came back to resume her role as Ziva. While slipping into her mind did not require much effort at all, it was the physical aspect of her character that became her undoing. Even though she's a gym person, she still wasn't prepared enough for the show physically, and that was a big struggle for her. Following up with how Cody survived during her time back on set, the exit from the show itself wasn't one that involved any bad blood whatsoever, and Cody's departure was actually amicably done, but it wasn't until a few years later that she revealed the real reason for leaving. Now, when you've got such a big show with so many plots to look after, it can become very easy to sideline some characters that probably doesn't deserve any dirt at all. In a 2016 Q&A, Pablo revealed that leaving the show was solely a decision she took because of the way Ziva was going to be written, and after playing her for so many years, she felt like it was a disservice to her role, and that she would come back if the writers would whip up an end that was really right for the special agent. So in 2019, when that finally happened, and Cody was able to make a 5-episode appearance after coming back from the dead, it wasn't easy to fit back Ziva's shoes. Normally the fight scenes on NCIS take almost 3 hours or so to shoot, and as we mentioned earlier, even though Pablo is big on gym and goes there all the time, she thought doing it from the beginning to the end was very tiring. She also wondered if her inability to keep up was because of her hiatus from the show, and if you've ever taken a day off from the gym, you probably have an idea that the body needs constant activity to work well. Let's talk about how grueling the fight scenes are. Now, it won't be a police show without a few kicks and punches here and there, and obviously the writers are big fans of action sequences because this show's got plenty of those. There's no standardized training for the actors at a professional level, of course, because duh, there's no championship belt involved here. The main focus of training for the scene is so the actors can fully deliver their performance in an authentic way. And we don't know if you know this, but for fighting scenes or any action sequence in particular, there was always an action choreographer and a fight choreographer who guide the actors to carry out the moves in a safe way without injuring themselves. So yeah, it's not as easy as it looks, and even if you're impressed by an actor's high kicks, there's probably a lot of CGI going on there that makes it look so effortless. In an interview with Build, she opened up about how fight sequences on the show made her feel. She mentions that every time she'd see the mention of one in the script, she would sigh and say, "Oh, here we go again." Not gonna lie, that sounds like us when we have to wake up early on a Monday. But hey, at least no stunts for us. It is physically exhausting to rehearse the same sequence for hours on end, but considering how the NCIS creators are, there's obviously no room for error anywhere. Let's learn more about Ziva's possible return to the show. Even though the little family reunion we had in season 16 made our hearts swell with nostalgia, we still really want to see our Agent David on our screens again. Kote hasn't been on the show in a hot minute, but there's chatter going around that Michael Weatherly might join us soon in the upcoming Milestone 20th season. He'll be reprising his role as Tony DiNozzo, so there's a possibility that we might see Pablo come along for the ride as well. And we hope this time when we see her on our screens again, the writers give her good enough material for Ziva to shine again, as she did all those years ago. The series is confirmed to return on CBS